Morning, everybody. We'll call to order our November 8th, 2022 regular meeting of the Mason County Board of Commissioners. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. And Chief Jockley, if you want.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, roll call. If the clerk would please take roll.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Item 4.1, if the clerk would please report the correspondence.
The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in the following: a liquor license with endorsements approval letter for Tugs and Chugs, and Squaxin Island Tribe sent in a response to the September 27th, 2022 comment letter to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item 4.2, we have a proclamation in honor of Veterans Day and Operation Greenlight. Before I read the proclamation, if the commissioners have no objection, I think we have some veterans in the room with us. If you wouldn't mind, just please stating your name and maybe the branch of the service that you served in.
Your branch is older than mine.
I'm Dennis Leverage, representing the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And I'm retired Army, 28 years.
Dan Dittmer, Mason County Veterans Board, and I'm Navy. We will be Army someday. And I was a cryptologist many years ago.
Thanks, Dan.
Hi, April.
And April?
Hi, I'm April Kruger, Army. I'm with the DAV, and we have a stand down next Thursday. We'll talk about that later.
Great, thank you.
Michael Curtis, United States Marine Corps. I am the Post 31 Commander.
Very good. Thank you so much. And so just we're grateful that you all took time this morning to be with us. And so with that, I will read the proclamation for Operation Greenlight. Whereas the residents of Mason County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all of the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who have served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Mason County seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future, and whereas studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life, and whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during their first year after military service, and whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans, and whereas Mason County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted, and now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Mason County Commissioners, in observance of Operation Greenlight, encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in a window of their place of business or residence, signed this day of November 8th, 2022. Commissioners, did you have any comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
You all hold a very special spot in my heart. Where my dad served, my husband served, my son served, my daughter served, and so many of my friends. You guys are, you're what makes our nation concrete. You keep us together. And you deserve so much more than we can give you. This proclamation is just a small statement of how I'm sure all of us feel. And I want to thank you all so much for everything that you've done.
I'll echo the same words and just express that, our veterans and also our law enforcement every day, I gotta tell you, we have nothing if it had not been for you. I assure you, and everybody realizes, there's a line of people that stood in line to take it all from us over the years, and we would have nothing to give if it hadn't been for all you have given. And that includes our law enforcement as well, each and every day. So I just want to say that I'm so appreciative, and I get to go and do things with my family that others can't because of you. God bless you, and thank you so very, very much.
Yeah, I'll also say just a profound thank you from myself and my family. I think all of us have veterans in our lives that we're very grateful for their service, and we're made better because of their presence in our lives, and certainly that translates to our communities. And so the fact that you're continuing to step up to serve our community and to serve your fellow veterans is a great example for all of us, and we'll just keep you in our our prayers and our thoughts, on Veterans Day later on this week. And if you see if you come by at night or early in the morning, our county buildings here downtown, Memorial Hall, our historic courthouse and administration building will be lit green for the month of November to recognize and call attention to the service of our military veterans in Mason County. And so it's just a small token of our appreciation, but grateful for your continued service and your being with us this morning. Thank you. Okay, Commissioners, we also have item 4.3, which is a news release on our 2023 solid waste rate increases, and I think Richard is going to present that.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Okay, here we go. 2023 solid waste rate increases, per Mason County Resolution number 2022-27. Disposal rates at all Mason County transfer and drop box stations will increase by 9% beginning January 1st, 2023. As directed by Resolution number 2022-27, fees will increase each year by the amount of the August to August Consumer Price Index U for the Seattle-Tacoma Bellevue area. This increase is to cover the annual cost increase experienced by the county to operate and maintain the Shelton, Hoodsport, Union, and Belfair transfer and drop box station locations.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item number 5. This is our open forum for citizen input. It's an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on any items that are not on today's agenda. If you would like to make comment, please raise your hand. The chair will recognize you if you come to the podium and state your name and where you live. You have about a 3-minute time limit per person. We want to make sure we get as many folks to speak as would like to. And so with that, I'll ask if there's any public comment on it in the room. Okay, seeing none in the room, are there any members of the public on Zoom that would like to make public comment? April, did you mention that you wanted to maybe make some comments about the stand down in a couple of weeks?
Yes, I didn't know if Dennis wanted to, but I could do it if he doesn't want to.
I think he's looking at you.
Okay, no, that's fine. I saw him there and I didn't want to take over. So, basically next Thursday, we will be on the 17th from 9 a.m. to noon. We will be having what we call a stand down or veterans event for our homeless veterans. And that's going to be at Memorial Hall. So I'm going to be putting more information on our website, and I've been reaching out to some of the community, but what we could use is word of mouth to make sure any veteran who's homeless or real close to being homeless to make sure they come to this event. And if they can't make it, to still contact us. Also, some of the things that we would need if anybody wants to help, we could use some rain gear, some warm blankets, and some of those instant soups like cup of soup, Lipton. And if they want to bring us those items at Memorial Hall, that would be great. Our hours are Tuesday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 2, or Thursday, 9 a.m. to noon. And if you can't if you don't want to get specific items, Walmart gift cards would be great as well, because sometimes we get so much of one thing and not enough of the other. And we do have female veterans as well, and sometimes they need special items. So I really appreciate that. Our website is masoncountyveterans.com.
Can I ask her a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Commissioner?
April, what denomination would you like those cards?
Honestly, because we're going to probably buy the supplies we need with them, $20 would be great, $10, we'll take whatever, honestly.
So you're not going to give them to the veterans for their personal?
No, we're just gonna use them to buy the supplies. If people don't wanna, we don't really wanna take cash, we prefer not to. We can, but we prefer just like gift cards, and we will buy the supplies that we are short the day of, or the day before.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, April. Please keep us posted, and we'll try to get the word out as much as we can.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Any other public comment? Dennis, did you want to add on to that at all?
Sure. Biggest thing, what most people don't know what a stand down is. And what a stand down is, it's a way that veterans can give, back to veterans. We veterans all have resources, and we try to help out as much as we can. In the old days, the stand down, we had everybody come in. They used to have big potluck meals, and we took care of our own. And it's just a way that the veterans help veterans. And this is a way that the community can jump in and help as well, by jumping in with the veterans and help them out. And we've been doing this program now for, I don't know, April, probably about 8 years, 8 to 10
Yeah,
years.
that's about right, 8 years.
About 8 to 10 years we've been doing this program with huge success. We reach out to anywhere from 10 to 30 veterans a year, and it's on the increase. So a lot more veterans are out on the streets now. And we're just trying to keep them warm, give them a way to support themselves. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Well, and hopefully too, we have the tiny home village that's under construction right now. That's, you know, I know that's been a long kind of process and has its own issues, but hopefully, you know, that helps alleviate some of the concern too in the future. We can get some veterans housed that need it. Okay, any other public comment?
No, there is not.
Okay, great, thank you. With that, we'll move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Before we do, Mr. Chair, I just want to verify this took care of what you needed by just announcing the news release. Was there anything else you wanted added?
I believe that there is a, don't we have to approve it through the new solid waste rates through something that needs to be added to the agenda for the, or is it just the announcement?
I believe just the announcement is okay.
Richard, is that correct?
Everybody's going for coffee whenever we need it.
Yeah, it's just the announcement. That would satisfy what Mason County garbage needs, so they can have their 45 days plus notice to the UTC for the change of rates.
And that's because the resolution that sets this has already been adopted, so we're good. Great.
I do have a, excuse me, Tony Curtis, resident of Mason County, Shelton. I do have a question. The increase of rates for that are coming up next year, I guess, or later on this year, does that extend out to residential pickup service or only for drop-off?
So I think, Richard, can you speak to that? That's what he's talking about with Mason County Garbage has to submit their rates to the state for approval.
Uh-huh.
And so they tend to base that off of whatever we're charging at the transfer station. But Richard, can you provide a little bit more info on that?
No, that's correct. They have to wait to make any rate adjustment. They have to know what ours will be first. And then they can backtrack and determine if they need to make an adjustment or not. And they have, like I said, they have to have 45 days notice to the Utilities and Transportation Commission to legally make any rate changes. But I'm sure if we raise our rates, it will be reflected in their rate. I just can't speak to
so there is a chance it would reach out to residential pickup service as well.
I imagine so. We will be charging them more to drop off whatever they pick up, so I'm sure it'll trickle down.
And just to clarify, because they're called Mason County Garbage does not mean they're Mason County though, that's just the name of their organization, it's not us. So it's up to them.
Waste Connections, yeah. Does that help? Great.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, with that, back to adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt today's agenda.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt today's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of the March 1st, 2022, the April 5th, 2022, Belfair Sewer Public Hearing Minutes, October 11th, 2022, October 25th, 2022, regular meeting minutes, October 17th, 2022, October 24th, 2022, and briefing minutes.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded to approve the March 1st and April 5th, 2022 Belfair Sewer Public Hearing Minutes, October 11th and 25th, 2022 regular meeting minutes, and October 17th and 24th, 2022 briefing minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, approval of today's action agenda. Commissioners will read through the items on today's action agenda, at which point a commissioner or member of the public may ask to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. I will take items 8.1 through 6. Commissioner Netherland, if you'd please take 8.7 through 12, and Commissioner Trask, if you'd please take 8.13 through 18. Item 8.1, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims clearing fund warrant number 8091282 through 8091606 in the amount of $3,892,497.25. Direct deposit fund warrant numbers 91214 through 91609 in the amount of $795,431.38. Salary clearing fund warrant number 7006972 through 7006994 in the amount of $520,431.88. Treasurer electronic remittance in the amount of $166,901.74. Item 8.2, approval for the Mason County Board of Equalization to hear completed and timely filed appeals for their 2022 assessment year. Item 8.3, approval of the resolution establishing the load lane limits for traffic control on 6 Mason County bridges. Item 8.4, approval to advertise and fill a non-represented Chief Deputy Assessor position in the Assessor's Office. Item 8.5, approval to set a public hearing for Tuesday, December 20th, 2022 at 9:15 a.m. to review and approve zoning code amendments to Mason County Code Title 17 and Title 8.52. And 8.6, approval of the resolution amending the Mason County Public Health and Human Services 2023 Environmental Health Fee Schedule.
Mr. Chair, item number 8.7 reads approval of the professional services contract with Bridgeview Consulting LLC to complete the update of the county's multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan in the amount of $80,750 for a performance period of November 8th, 2022 through April 3rd, 2024. Item number 8.8, approval to appoint Blair Schringman to the Transportation Improvement Program Citizens Advisory Panel, the TIPCAP, to represent Commission District Number 3, Shelton Urban Growth Area, UGA, or city for a 2-year term ending November 8th, 2024. Item number 8.9, approval of the resolution amending the Mason County Code for Departments reporting to the Commissioners. Item number 8.10, approval of the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, for the Evergreen Estates Water Main Extension Project for Public Works to advertise, set a bid date and time, and award contract for Public Works to procure engineering, architect, consultant services for the project and enter into contract, and for the county engineer and or chair to sign all pertinent documents for the grant and project. Item number 8.11, approval of the January 2022 through December 2025 collective bargaining agreement, CBA for Teamsters, local number 252, and operating engineers, local 302, representing Mason County Public Works Unit. Item number 8.12, approval for the resolution updating the non-represented salary scale to reflect a 1.75 general wage increase effective January 1st, 2023.
Item 8.13, approval to subcontract additional funds in the amount of $530,000 to Crossroads Housing for the creation of a permanent eviction prevention rental assistance program from November 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Item 8.14, approvals to subcontract additional funds in the amount of $178,295 to Shelton Family Center for the purpose of assisting people experiencing homelessness to obtain and maintain housing stability from November 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Item 8.15, approval to increase the Superior Court Commissioner's contract from 37 hours per week to a full-time employee at 40 hours per week. Item 8.16, approval for the chair to sign the memorandum of agreement with the Port of Allen to codify the letter between Mason County and the Port of Allen concerning the mitigation of any negative hydraulic impacts to Sherwood Creek. Item 8.17, approval to place the order for 4 police interceptor utility vehicles to replace 2 canceled police interceptor utility vehicles and 2 canceled Tahoe K9 vehicles and update the 2023 Sheriff's Office motor pool vehicle rates. Item 8.18, approval to appoint Amanda Gonzalez to the Mason County Housing and Behavioral Health Advisory Board for a 4-year term expiring November 8th, 2026.
Very good, thank you, Commissioners. Having read through the items on today's action agenda, are there any items Commissioners would like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote?
Just comment at the end.
Sure. Members of the public in the room, are there any items you'd like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote? Okay, seeing none in the room. Any members of the public on our Zoom would like to have items removed for a separate discussion and vote? Please raise your hand or unmute yourself. Okay, not seeing any there. Commissioners, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the action agenda as presented in its entirety.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the action agenda in its entirety. Any discussion? Commissioner Medlin?
Just wanted to give a thank you to those that stand up again to join our citizen advisory panels and committees. We really rely on them to give us the heartbeat of things that we may not be able to see out there in the public. We try to be everywhere we can. I do. I try to be everywhere, but I can't. So we need the citizens literally to be involved and to step up and do what these folks are doing so that we can get a direct voice from them, and they can also take it directly to the community where we're not in the room, so we may hear sometimes the real beliefs that they have.
Great, thank you.
I too would like to thank everybody that's helping us do our job. They make our job so much easier. And it's true, you don't know what you don't know. And so that helps a lot. Also want to be able to mention the Crossroads and Shelton Family Center. They have been able to help so many people by helping them stay in their homes. They're just invaluable to our community, and I appreciate them so much.
Thank you. Any other discussion, Commissioners? None, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, other business. Any department heads or elected officials that would like to address the commission? Any on Zoom? Okay, very good. We'll move on to item 10. There are no public hearings set for today, so we can move on to our board calendars and reports. Commissioner Netherland, if you please get us started. Commissioner Trask, and then I'll finish
I
up.
would. Mason Transit Authority meeting, a law enforcement firefighters meeting, Mason Transit Authority closed session, joint city county meeting. I met with a group of vets regarding some of the issues they have going on. I was at the risk pool for 3 days. A few more things that come up, but I don't think any of us were there with that. Coming up, I have an Olympic Regional Clean Air Authority meeting, cemetery meeting. We have Veterans Day celebrations. Let's see, Mason Transit Authority, Mason County Housing Authority. I have an audit committee meeting, I also have an ORCA finance committee meeting. I want to touch base on one other thing though, because I know that I understand the concern that you had when it comes to the raise on the rates and the like. These were set in place before any of us were ever even here, but in this particular one, we let it go forward because it looks like it is absolutely needed for us to do what we're doing with cost of living. But what you don't know is what occurred at that same meeting is the commission took some of the other issues that are before us, such as the sewer in Allen and some of the sewer rates, and we've decided to hold back on those and relook at how to handle that and what to do with that to try and understand the impact that it's having on the community. We also asked that for the next meeting that we will have a resolution that changes the fees, which normally would have been 9% because it's based on the CPIs of the Seattle area, that we are going to put into place with a positive vote, but all three of us were supportive of it, of a minimum of 2% and a maximum of 5% regardless of the economy, to be able to try and keep those costs down for the people so they can afford to do it. We don't know what we're going to do on the sewer rates and stuff, but we're bringing all the information together and look for a way. I'm hoping we re-rack part of it, but we have to unify some of it. And I want to say that may actually include a small increase in the Belfair area, because sometimes it is necessary. We've been able to hold that down for 10 years. Imagine a no cost increase for 10 years in government. That's almost unheard of, but it was necessary for it to get caught up with the surrounding communities. But I wanted you to know that your commissioners are aware, and listening to your question, I thought you might want to know that that's some of the things that we're doing.
That's great, thank you.
All right. Later tonight, I will be attending a couple election night parties. I have a local emergency planning meeting, business hours at Lucky Dog, so that should be fun. Have SES group housing needs meeting, Power the Purse, debrief, which was amazing. The Power Purse, we did so good. I can't thank the community enough for helping out. We raised a good amount of money, and that's going to help a lot of our folks. Well, remodel, honestly, for the kitchen, so I'm excited about that one. Public Works Board Executive Committee meeting, a Pack Mountain Executive Team Committee. Friday, of course, is Veterans Day, and there'll be a lot of services out there. There's also a service for one of my dear friends that passed away recently, and that'll be in Aberdeen. Retirement party for our outgoing sheriff. And then I will be at a Wasaka, Washington Association of County Leaders Conference in Renton, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Friday night is a women's group meeting. I'll be meeting with staff to talk about budget. Another Public Works executive meeting. And then Thursday the 17th, I would encourage folks to go to the Fjord Oyster Bank. Man, I'm having a hard time. Tongue twisters today. Their grand opening, and that's in Hoodsport. That's on the 17th, so go there and support a grand opening. I'll be a door greeter for Peabod that's coming to our church. I'm glad I'm a door greeter and not in the room. And then we'll be back here on Monday the 21st for briefings and WASAC Virtual Assembly, and then commission meeting.
Okay, thank you. Moving on today, have MACECOM board meeting, and then I'll also probably be at the legislative election night party, at least for a little bit tonight. Have a meeting with SC Johnson. So some of you might remember earlier this year we did a pilot program with the city of Shelton, our solid waste unit, as well as Mason County Garbage or Waste Connections, to do a plastic film recycling program. And so that pilot is winding down, and so we're getting together to talk about the results of it and what they were able to accomplish through that pilot program. So excited to hear the updates there. Also have IT steering committee meeting with Evan Bowder from the Conservation District, and then I'll be attending the Fentanyl Community Forum, have EDC board, and then the special meeting of the Housing Behavioral Health Advisory Board, which I think is the FCS group meeting that Commissioner Trask mentioned. Next week, have the Mason Crisis Service System of Care Work Group. Also be attending the retirement party for PD3 Commissioner Linda Gott up at their facility on Johns Prairie. And then I have a MACECOM supervisors meeting on there as well. Hood Canal Coordinating Council, and then back for briefings and budget workshop and a BHASO staff check-in meeting ahead of our next meeting. Any other additions, commissioners? Any subtractions? Nothing? Okay.
Just watching that trip that
Yeah.
Dan's going through.
Oh, he's building a shop, so I'm kind of jealous. Good job, Dan.
Yeah, how about that? Oh, okay.
He's waving to us.
All right.
There he is.
Excellent. Mark, did you have a?
I wanted to recognize everyone. I didn't know if Dan wanted to actually speak to the board, and so I wanted to make sure he had an opportunity to, if he did.
Hey, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the work you guys have been putting in, and how you're helping the veterans in the community, and especially the homeless. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, but you know, I'm currently putting up a garage, so yeah. Once again, thanks again for all you guys do. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with the build. Yeah.
So the other item I wanted to mention is Commissioner Netherland talked about us coming back and briefing the board on utility rates. That'll be on Monday, November 21st, I believe. So for the members of the public that would like to hear some of the additional details associated with what goes into making these rates and why we have to increase them sometimes, I would encourage you to attend the board briefing on the 21st to hear additional details. We don't really have opportunities for public comment during board briefings, but you would have the ability to comment on the next day, which is the 22nd.
Yeah, and I think the other, this is a hopefully a unique year in terms of the CPI that we use to adjust these rates, and so hopefully this is an outlier in terms of where we're seeing these increases go. I mean, I think we're all hopeful that that's the case. But I think our staff has done a great job at going back and looking at how we calculate these rates countywide, and so there was not surprisingly a lot of differences by how we did it for environmental health versus parks versus sewer utilities versus solid waste. And so I think what they're really working on and what we're really hoping for is that there's some consistency throughout the code and how we do this. And one of the options that they came back to us with for our park usage rates yesterday was having this minimum and maximum, a floor and a ceiling for rate increases, that help kind of maybe even things out in years like this where we're seeing CPI just through the roof, your cost of living and inflation through the roof. And so hats off to staff for digging in on that and recognizing that there was a lot of disparity throughout the code and working to fix it. And so I think we're pretty excited about that. And of course, these are issues that are front and center on everybody's mind. When they're trying to make ends meet and figure out how they're going to pay for things, and we need to keep these utilities moving, but at the same time, we want to be respectful of people's abilities to pay. So,
I have another question for you. Whenever you take into consideration these rate adjustments, either up or down, is it at the county's decision, or does it have to go up to the state level to get their approval, or where does it lie in approval?
So we're kind of the masters of our own destiny with these rates. I mean, we have to make sure that we're keeping up with, our operations costs and, collective bargaining agreements so that we're able to keep the facility staffed and things like that. But by and large, these are rates that we approve at the local level with input from the community and, going through the process that we're going through now. And like Mark said, when we have a plan together that we want to take a vote on, you'll have an opportunity to weigh in at that point and provide public comment. Certainly no reason to even wait that long. If folks want to email us or call, we're always happy to receive that information as well. But there will be an opportunity for public input. But I think our intent is to get it so that there's consistency countywide, but also that we're not we're being practical about what we're asking folks to pay for these services.
So you don't have to get approval at the state level.
Correct.
Of raising rates.
Not for these, correct.
Matter of fact, these rates, and the way they're raised currently has been in effect for, how long would you say, Richard? Well, he's not even on there. It's been.
More than a
we
decade.
were looking, yeah, we were looking at 2009 on
Yeah.
some of it, and when they were first passed, way before it ever came to us, that was for the Belfair. The one for Allen, I think, was done in like 92 or something like that. So it's been established and stayed that way forever, so we're actually, as far as I know, we're probably the only ones that's ever stopped and looking at it.
The other thing that I might want to mention is that the complexity of the funding sources that come in to support the services that we provide is also taken into consideration. So for instance, parks rates are subsidized by general fund money. So we can, so we don't have to recoup everything that we see as an increase because the general fund can take care of the difference. Whereas when you get into a utility, it's a specific service provided for a specific number of customers. And those are expected that they can support themselves. And so those rates are actually, it's a complex process to put those rates together. It's just not the operational cost associated with operating the facility for the year. It also includes capital investments that we have to make to keep the operations running, right?
Yes.
So there's it's a pretty long-term perspective when we look at utility rates, whereas the parks rates are more cyclical in terms of this is what it costs us to keep our parks open. And we have access to other resources like general fund that can subsidize those rates.
And we are controlled by RCWs when it comes to those rates. There's things that we have to do by statute. We have to pay for it out of that service and not charge everybody else for it.
Correct.
So just understand, so there is still the state control, but it's our decision.
I think the other thing that's important to note with this is, you know, we Commissioner Netherland said we haven't taken a look at these in a long time, and that's true. Mostly because we're seeing, 40-year record inflation right now that we haven't seen since those resolutions were adopted. And so, for the most part, there was no reason to look at it in the way that we are today or now. And so, I think it's just a unique circumstance, but it gives us an opportunity to really rethink how we approach rate increases and try to make it a little bit more consistent and fair for our residents. So, it's a good conversation to have. So. Okay. Anything else, commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Have a good day, everybody. It's good to see so many people
And if
here.
you have any questions,